Well, hello there. Welcome to the Ballistically Speaking BS session number 5. Good day, folks. We're glad to have you back. Come along for BS session number 5.
This right here has the ability with a 30 caliber clip to disperse with 30 bullets within half a second.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS, Ballistically Speaking, the Ballistically Speaking podcast.
Yeehaw!
Weird when I hear that, you know, the whatever effect you did to your voice,
Yeah.
when you're rendering that. What?
I increased the pitch on my voice and added echo to it. So, yeah.
Oh.
So kind of made it sound like me going through puberty or pre-puberty or something like that. Talking through like a long hallway or something.
All right, folks, welcome. Like Chris said, BS session number 5. We're glad you're all here. This session, as with all the other ones, at least so far, is brought to you by a whole list of amazing sponsors that we absolutely love, not the least of which is EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta. They have the tools, the knowledge, and the support you need to achieve your goals of precision rifle mastery. As skilled craftsmen and proven solution providers, EM guarantees equipment. Holy cow.
Good
EM
job.
Precision.
Start again.
Yeah. I'm a little
Who's
verklempt.
You're verklempt? Should we discuss amongst ourselves?
Yes. EM Precision guarantees equipment performance, not personal performance, second to none. Consult with Shane for the build of your dreams and allow Steve to handcraft your next precision tool for an experience you will not forget. Find EM Precision on Facebook, Instagram, and their website at emprifles.ca.
All right. We are also brought to you by Bolt Action Coffee. For world-class specialty coffee from world-class Canadian Forces veterans, go to boltactioncoffee.com. Order up some coffee for any occasion, and while you're there, check out their great line of apparel, mugs, stickers, and patches. Help support a great veterans organization, as well as this show. At checkout, use the code FIRSTFocalPlane, all one word, because that hasn't been changed yet.
That's got to get on our list.
Yeah, we're going to have to email them again. For 10% off your order, doing so directly supports this show.
Excellent. We're also brought to you by callsign66. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course with them now at callsign66.ca. And I believe they are out in Manitoba. I know they're out in Manitoba right now for this weekend. I'm not sure exactly which course they're doing, but they are there conducting a course nonetheless. Yeah. And they've gotten a whole pile of rain out there this year. Hopefully they're not sloshing through the muck. It's a wonderful range they have out there. What's
the name? What's the range? Is it like private land or?
It is private land. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the name always escapes me. I feel like a fool. But anyway, it's north of Winnipeg, probably about an hour and a half. And I've seen
pictures. Isn't that smack dab in the middle of the lake?
Well, it's on the east side of
below the lake.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, Luke, good to have you here, buddy.
So we are also brought to you by Odell Engineering, led by the venerable Phil Odell. Pick up a Canuck shotgun or a Bergara rifle from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. If they don't know who you are, Phil, then they don't deserve the sale anyways.
They may charge you extra.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Maybe that.
If they do them, then we'll just go find another retailer.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Check the website, canuckguns.ca, and look for the dealer locator. We'll find 3 or 4 around.
That's
there we go.
Right there.
Yeah.
All right, and Apex Optics. When you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Find them at apexoptics.co and grab yourself a Rival 4-32 rifle scope and get on the mailing list for more exciting products coming soon, which we did that. What was it? An infield review or on location? That's what it was.
Yeah.
And we had a talk with Vanya and Carly. And they told
If you
us
haven't
about a couple
watched
of new
it,
products coming up.
yeah, if you guys haven't seen it yet, check it out on our YouTube page. It's just Ballistically Speaking podcast on YouTube. Some of you are watching us on YouTube right now, so just click on the page and
Yes.
you can see that interview. We talked about they talked about the Rival. They talked about 2 new scopes that are coming out hopefully by the end of this year, I think is what he was saying, and talked about their couple of different binos that they're coming out with.
And
So,
are they not shipping the first scope now?
Yeah, they are.
Yep, it's
I got that email, and that was very cool. I was highly excited to see that.
You were waiting for it?
Oh man, yeah. I really am looking forward to getting that here.
They've actually
good for them on schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
There's 2 words you don't often see in this industry.
I know, right?
Oh
So they had them out
for doing that.
They had them out to customers pretty quick as soon as it arrived. Landside. I think they were saying they're expecting another shipment in as early as just
right
a
away.
couple of weeks. Yeah.
You betcha.
So yeah, that's cool. We're also
kudos.
Yeah. We are also brought to you by Ribstone Gunsmithing, craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar at ribstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm.
And finally, March Scopes Canada. The Dion optical design line of rifle scopes has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Niza at marchscopes.ca. That'll wrap up our sponsor section for the night.
Our sponsor section. Now we need a video that goes to go to the next segment.
The present day.
Yeah. Live.
Did you see Brad Hodson here? He's going, I'm listening while I prep to go to camp. Nuisance bear at our logging camp, so off to camp for the weekend. It sounds like see if I can deal with this thing. Well, get after it.
One up on you, Brent. I got a nuisance beaver around here.
Oh,
who hasn't had one of those? Really?
Really. Actually, technically, we have 2 nuisance beavers. These bastards, unfortunately, are the ones you want to make hats out of.
Oh boy.
And
I had
doesn't even go get a whole lot better, does it? But yeah, they're
I had a buddy who had
dams.
I had a buddy who had a nuisance beaver a couple of years ago, and the problem was it was damming up on his property, but the beavers and the actual dam were not on his property. Like he was down upriver from it, but they weren't on his property. And the guy whose property they were on was absolutely adamant that he would not let anybody touch the beavers. And it was several years of rising water levels before it finally started flooding that guy's land out also. And then he's like, okay, you guys can get rid of the beavers.
I was going to say, F Trudeau, there is a reason that we need 50 caliber rifles.
Yeah, 100%.
Reach over and sort that thing out.
Yeah, it's for the beavers.
My own place.
It's for the beavers 3 sections of land away.
Exactly.
It's for the beavers' own good.
It's for their own good. Yeah.
Yeah, you knew this was coming from Rob.
What's her name?
Which
Phil?
the one he wants to make a hat out of?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, so Oscar's mentioning that I didn't get to finish torture. We were going to torture test the Canuck operator while we were out at Consort. Unfortunately, several things happened. And yeah, you sent me an operator. Yeah.
Was it the new one?
Yep, it's the new elite operator. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a beautiful shotgun. I'll be honest with you, Phil. You guys sent me so many things a little while ago that I am desperately trying to spend time with each and every one of them so that I can properly review all of them.
Okay.
I just feel
I will tell you one thing on the operator, and we discovered this. We discovered this early on with the Engage, and we corrected it with the Engage. Some of the turkey loads and the new federal load and Longbeard XR are like right at the top end of the specs for 3-inch shells, and sometimes they don't feed 100%, and we do have a fix for that, and it's being corrected in all future production. Sorry, what's that, Kurt?
You mean the length?
It's just feeding out of the mag tube and coming up on the lifter. So we
Right.
do have we have an in-house fix for the guns that are here. If you're having that problem, and or if you're going to use that ammo, let us know. We can take care of it for you. But it is
Well,
being sorted out at the factory for future production. So it won't
it's a
be
good thing we
won't be an
don't
issue.
mess around with turkey loads out here on the prairie. We have more.
Well,
we
you may
have,
have something. You may have something
yeah.
similar. I don't know, but I mean, I'm in Ontario, and we love to listen to you guys here. So
We have more. We have more arsehole and coyote loads out here.
Yeah.
true enough. Though
Well,
you
and
have turkeys in
we got
Manitoba,
prairie chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have
We do.
much for turkeys here though.
No,
not in
Nothing.
Saskatchewan. I don't.
I don't think
No,
we have
neither do-
any turkeys here.
no, nothing.
Well, you got-
Nowhere from border to
You got
border. I don't
Miriam's
think.
coming in from BC, moving into Alberta, and you've got an Eastern Miriam's kind of hybrid in Manitoba. So in
Oh,
in
really?
100 years, you'll have turkeys running around Saskatoon.
I would
My-
be happy to go turkey hunting. We got to get somebody to start, breeding and letting them go.
Either that, or come visit us in Ontario in May.
Yep.
Well,
We can
that's
make it
always an
happen.
option too. I should probably just get out to Ontario more often.
Oscar
Cypress
says,
Hills, but no
yeah.
season. Really? I didn't know they were in Cypress. Huh.
Yeah. Well, they would be coming north because they're in the Dakotas.
Mhm.
How are they?
Yeah. That would not. Yeah, Cypress Hills, Saskatchewan. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
All
I
the
didn't know they
stories
were in
that I've
Alberta
heard-
either.
All the stories that
Yeah,
I've
they're
heard
in
and the
Alberta.
shows that I've seen with turkey hunters that they're and I used to be a coyote hunting crazy son of a gun. People compare it to hunting coyotes, how wary these bloody turkeys are and everything. I wouldn't mind that challenge. Now that I know how to shoot a shotgun, thanks, Oscar.
It is fun. I got to say, hunting with them it really is. It's an experience. When you get that first one goes off in the woods around you, and it's like, ooh, that's it is very cool. The only thing they have is they can't smell. So
that's
Turkeys
good.
can't.
That's good for me.
no,
Yeah, that's
They-
good for
they
me too.
respect.
I was just gonna say.
but it makes them extremely wary, and their eyesight is good, and they actually
Oh,
have
really?
a bit of a memory.
Oh, do they?
Is that right? Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll
Wild
they'll,
rose
they'll know if
weaponry.
something's changed.
There are wild turkeys in Alberta. Come hunting
Yeah,
here.
there are.
Well, that's interesting.
I
just
didn't
got
know Alberta had
sponsored.
a season.
Well,
I know
I think
BC has introduced a season.
I think the turkeys must have flown from Ontario or southern Manitoba west, and they just went Saskatchewan. Hey,
Just
nothing
like
really
everything
here.
else.
Nothing to see. Just moving along.
Actually,
Yes.
they would have moved. They would have moved north because you get the Miriams in the west side of the flatlands,
Okay.
and you get the
Oh.
easterns on the east side of them. But right in the middle, they are all moving north. But yeah,
Guys,
Minnesota's
along with the
Minnesota's
ticks.
thin for them.
I'm just
Um,
realizing that we are completely surrounded by turkeys, and they will probably invade us anytime now. If they're
You
in
should live a
Alberta,
province with
Manitoba, the
Toronto and
Dakotas.
and Ottawa.
Are you? Yeah, I was gonna say, are you referring to the winged turkeys or the wingless turkeys? Because we got
Well,
a lot of them.
Yeah, the wingless turkeys are definitely in Ottawa. Yeah.
Hey, Joel Anthony joined us. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, we should update Joel as soon as
Did you get that mag
as soon
set
as
out?
I did not. I'm such a fucking piece of shit. I'm the worst. I'm sorry, Joel. Here's the good news. It is no longer on my work desk. It is upstairs with my "you need to ship this shit out someday"
in your reminder box.
pile. Yeah, in my reminder box. I was going to actually. I was thinking like, well, now that the rivals are starting to come in, I would just wait until the rival comes that we have to send them, and then
Yes.
I'd send them out there. But then Vanya and Carly told me that, well, we'll just ship it directly out to them. And I was like,
That
oh,
makes sense.
okay. And that reminds me, I need to give them Joel's address so that they can do that.
Okay, that's two fails.
Soon.
You know what? I feel like I need to come over to your place tomorrow and oh, by the way, sorry, total sidebar.
Yeah.
Are you busy tomorrow?
I actually am. I have a very, very, very busy day.
I'm taking some
You're beating up children again, aren't you?
I am. I have so many kids to kick tomorrow. You have no idea.
jealous. No, I'm taking some would-be long range enthusiasts out tomorrow. Jens and I are, yeah.
Oh, I would 100% go. I'm going to be at the gym until at least 5 o'clock though.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, it's a busy one. Yeah. Rob says I'm fired.
Yeah. Fired, bro. See you next turn.
So,
oh, crap. Okay.
We should probably introduce Phil for those who have never joined us before. So, joining us for tonight is Mr. Phil Odell from Odell Engineering. If you don't know who he is, you're not Canadian.
Yeah,
that's just the way it goes. So, Phil,
it's a
channeling a Bidenism there, eh? Just modifying it a bit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know what? It seems to work with everything else. You're for us or you're against us. I mean, everything's black and white these days. So,
literally,
we thought that it would be fun to check in with you and see what's going on in the world and see what's going on with Odell specifically. And boy, what good timing do we have? Because you guys just announced a brand new rifle on the market. Why don't you tell us all about it?
Yeah, hey, and we actually even got it through customs. That only took 3 days. But yeah, we did.
Singular.
That's our new TM22. It's coming in. It's a plinker. You know, it's a great little gun. These things are literally hitting the shelves as we speak. They started shipping yesterday, so some of them will be in the dealers today. I don't know, geez, my light is not nearly as good as it is in the other one. But it's a nice little plinker, 18-inch barrel, threaded muzzle, so you can put muzzle devices on it. The fore-end floated barrel, M-lock fore-end, 1913 rail, ejection port, charging handle on the opposite side. It's a beauty. Right now, its safety is on the left side, large wing safety, easy to operate. And the first shipment in uses a fixed aluminum stock. Anybody looking at it will see that it has a very familiar looking receiver extension nut. On there. So if you happen to have in your collection of spare parts a universal adjustable buttstock assembly, then you can actually change these and pop that on there, which makes it cool. Because I mean, this is nice and it's nice, and we're all fairly good sized guys here, but you know, people that are a little smaller, especially kids, and 22s are great for kids.
Yeah.
And this one is light. I mean, it's not a particularly heavy gun. It's maybe, I don't know, 5-6 pounds. So what's it, 6-7 pounds with an optic or a dot or something on here.
Yeah.
So easy weight for kids. And speaking of kids and having fun, the standard magazine is a 10 shot. The gun arrives with 2 of these, and guess what else we have?
Hello there.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was
and this
coming.
is and you know, apologies in advance. You're going to go, whoa, that's not a cheap magazine. And no, it's not. This is not a plastic magazine. This is an aluminum magazine put together. So it's an all aluminum magazine. So they've done a really nice job on the 25 rounder. And so that makes it a ton of fun. So this should be a particularly durable, larger capacity magazine for your rifle.
Nice.
So
I just want to interject a little bit. Chris W says, how did you manage to get an AR-15 approved? So here's your chance now, Phil, to
tell the world about the new industry terms.
Well, you know, and this is one of the things. The AR-15 is prohib. So anything AR-15, look, that's a universal pistol grip. Because
Yes, exactly.
if it was something else, it would not cross the border because that's a prohibited part. But because these things are legitimately used on, you know, they're probably used on more firearms that are not AR-15s than they are on AR-15s.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's on the Engage.
We have them. Well, I mean, the new Bergera that you guys were looking at down south.
Yeah.
That's the grip it uses. So they're there. So they are universal pistol grip, and that's why it's addressed that way, because it opens the application up. I mean, same thing when we talked about the adjustable buttstock. It's a the universal adjustable buttstock. You fit in that thread and away you go. I mean, it's as crazy as a lot of our other firearms use what would ostensibly be the AR type trigger. You can't bring in an AR trigger because it's an AR part, but it's a 960 pin spacing trigger. So we use them, and and they go into all kinds of other rifles, and I mean, fleets of them. And so it's just a question of, you need to now be a little more circumspect and think about what your applications are. And that's kind of what happens. But we're able to continue to bring the bits and pieces in. And what's going to be very cool is a lot of your well, let's just call them accessories that most of us probably have meandering around in our shop, will fit on here, from optics, grips, front grips, lights. You can just have a ton of fun with this sort of thing.
Is that a universal fit aluminum handguard on the front? That's the new term I'm going to use?
No, this is not, but
that is proprietary.
The slots on it are M-lock slots.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah,
perfect.
And I apologize. the kids took the studio apart. So I'm the old boy here is not so tech savvy to put it back together. So I'm just in my shop. There you go. Yeah, that's a much better picture there. And that's it with the 10-shot magazine. And you can imagine, you can pop in the 25 and away you go.
I saw on your guys' Facebook announcement, your video of this thing, everybody was complaining, 10-round magazine, 10-round magazine. I was like, I know he's going to announce a 25-round magazine, and all these guys are going to look dumb for complaining about it. But
there's a lot of people that seems don't mind that.
Exactly.
See, this is what pissing me off with the light. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. That's
here. You know what we can do?
This is the green one. Yeah, it looks mighty black, but it's very green.
See that,
like it's like the CF OD.
Yeah, it's
green.
a deep olive.
Oh yeah,
it is. Yeah, and it's matte. So it's a nice green color, and and of course these came in the box like 30 minutes before the telecast. So
they got the grease all over them.
So they still got the oil.
There it is. Yeah.
You can kind of see it. Yeah. And I'll tell you one, for all you Air Force guys out there, we actually, one of the prettiest guns.
That does look nicer in person. Yeah.
I mean, the blue is really, really nice. It's kind of like a gunmetal blue. It's got a hint of gray underneath it, so it's a really, really nice blue color. It's not like Chris's t-shirt blue there. The bright blue. It's a little more subdued, and everybody that's seen it's just gone absolutely crazy for the blue color. And I got to admit, it really is sharp. So we'll be bringing in a bunch more of those. So everybody who was in the Air Force or ever wanted to fly or has ever seen needs to buy a blue TM22.
On your camera, that looks so much better than this picture here.
Yeah.
It's not quite as silver gray, or silver blue. In real, it's more of that kind of understated gray blue, and it's a pretty color. Like I said, everybody that's seen it's gone nuts for it.
Now, there is one more color that you said you didn't have with you.
Is the tan.
It will be coming in the tan as well for all the
and
tan.
The tan is nice.
Yeah,
the tan. That's actually very representative of the tan right there.
Oh, it is, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a hair more brown in real, but it's pretty close. It's pretty close.
Yeah, but let's be honest. That's the way to go.
Oh, if you're Canadian, absolutely.
Yeah, you got to have the green.
Yeah, it is nice, and if you're one of those guys, and you want to collect the whole set, it's the Commander and the Sentry green that we have. It's the same shade of green, so it's that nice olivey Canadian green. We're really pleased with it. It's come out really well. So we've
Oh.
already got the backup order in. They're literally hitting the shelves as we speak, Joel. They shipped yesterday, so some stores that are close to us got some this morning. Everybody else is getting them. We shipped. Well, I think we have the warranty stock because we always keep a safety stock here.
Sure.
And I don't think there's much else left. Everything went. We had
Wow.
basically no pre-orders on these things, and they landed, and everybody went, "Ooh, that is pretty," and they just went. So they're going everywhere from. I know they've gone as far east as Nova Scotia, and they've gone as far west as Vancouver Island. So they are. There's going to be some all across the country. We tried to make sure that they get spread out to dealers in wide sectors, and of course, I mean, there are some dealers that are active online. So, if you're in Aqualalit, you've got your dealers who will ship to you.
Oh yeah,
Jump
nice.
on that.
Do you guys feel like taking a bit of a sidebar momentarily?
Let's take a sidebar, but before we do that, I need to ask Phil. I'm pretty sure I know the answer. It'll probably be a very short answer. It's a direct blowback?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah, it's true blowback. It starts from a closed bolt and just back. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
All
I knew that was going to be short, so.
Yeah, no, and they function well, but like every single blowback 22, they probably do function just that little bit better with high velocity ammo.
Right.
Not hyper velocity, but
that 1250 range, 1250 feet per second range. Yeah.
Yeah. If you got a 39 grain bullet at 1200 to 1250, then you'll probably see the most reliable performance there.
Right.
Yeah. Now I know that. So I know you want to take a sidebar, but I have one more question. I know that
bigger than both of us put together, so he gets this question.
But I'm really far away.
He's a pussycat.
Yeah, I'm nothing. Derya, I know, has put this out in some other markets already.
Yes,
they only make. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I know people will ask me if I don't ask it to you.
Get on with it.
Only 22 long rifle. Any chances or plans or that you're aware of for 17 or 22 Magnum or anything like that?
No, not that I'm aware of, and that would be that would probably require a receiver change for the length.
Yeah,
it would. Yeah.
So I don't know, and really in a plinker like that, we don't generally get a lot of requests. Now, I will tell you what is hitting the market right now is we just got our first shipment of Bergera BMRs in 22 Magnum are on the truck coming north right now.
Really?
And 17s are already out there.
Oh,
so
Private Rimfire's got some stuff to buy.
I should have waited and got my BMR in 17 HMR. That would have been the tits.
Yeah. Well, we can. I mean, if you want to test one or something, we probably figure out a way to loan you one.
Oh, I just.
It might have to be the next shipment because I think they're all gone.
Well, I'll tell you what, Phil. With all the guns I'm trying to review right now, I do not need another one right now.
No, that's cool. But I mean, come Christmas time or whatever, you're talking coyote hunting in January out there or something.
Sure.
It's an interesting. The 17 is an interesting round for coyotes if you can get them, inside 200 yards.
Oh yeah.
The bullets will still perform well, and you'll get a clean kill at that range, I think.
I know a guy that shot one reportedly, and I know the guy well, and I don't think he's a bullshitter, but 407 yards
with a 17.
With a 17. Now,
good bullet placement.
This guy used to be a sniper, and I've known him for a long time. He's a good, honest guy. I know how he shoots, so I think you're right. With good bullet placement, it is possible. No.
Yeah, and I'd be far less inclined to say you can't hit it at that range, because the ridiculous ranges the guys are shooting PRS rimfire here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And the 17 has got ballistically all over the 22 long rifle.
Sure. Yeah.
I would just be concerned about bullet performance. I mean, you get it
that's
placed right, probably going to work.
You poke him between the ribs, it's probably going to do a decent job.
Yeah.
Might take a little
agree.
while for him to.
And they're still big enough that you're still shooting a 6-inch target. So that's a minute and a half at that range.
Yep. You gotcha.
So here's a question. Oscar says, why no love for the 17 Mach 2? What is the 17 Mach 2?
Oh,
it's a 22 long rifle, neck down to 17.
Neck down to 17.
Really?
It's pretty.
Well, that's why no love for it. It's probably not that great.
Actually, it's a good round.
It is.
I mean, like
compared
a lot
to
of
an
those
HMR?
rounds. Well, I mean, it's a 30-30 compared to like a 30-06.
Right.
I mean, you've got less case capacity, but like a lot of those rounds that came out, and Kurt can get into more of this because he's your reloading guru. But when they brought these things out, you actually could put proper bullets in them, because you weren't dealing with literally 100 million old 22s out there, which limits 22 long rifle performance.
Yep.
You know, right? So these things are coming out, and they're using jacketed projectiles, and they work. I mean, they do it. They do a job.
Yeah, for sure.
You wanted to segue, Kurt.
Well, I'm just our buddy with the internal bubble level here, Spudman76. So this is it's not a segue. It is a complete sidebar. But speaking of how many rounds, what's this new 5-round maximum limit in long guns the libs are proposing now? So far as I know, it hasn't been proposed yet. That's speculation at this point.
You mean other than a pipe dream and a nightmare?
I think it's in C21.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like a lot of other things, you know, and you're catching me slightly off on this because I have not had a chance to read C21 with my medical issues the last 2 months.
Yeah.
I have not gotten to do certain things that I should have done. But I believe that there is something in there, and it may well be a framework. And how it actually is implemented will probably end up in a lot of these technical aspects coming down through the regulations. And I don't know. Yeah. So I am literally speaking through my hat.
Listen, there's no question.
But that's
on
typically
their
how they
goddamn
do
mind. Yeah. Yeah.
And what they mean by permanently modified, who the hell knows? I mean, they said permanently modified, and that was a rivet before.
Well, let's face it. The liberals are simple fucks, and they're just following along what they think they heard from the U.S. I mean, it happens every goddamn time. And I'm sorry, but they are, handicapped
let's
kid.
Let's peel that onion for a second. They're not simple. They may not be educated in everything that we know, right?
Well, they're devious.
Clip, right? No, Garand's use clips. Go away.
There's a difference between intelligence and deviousness.
Yes, and this is intended to achieve a political end. And make no mistake, they have achieved their political end. They got all the press, and magically the press went off of, guess what, how they've tanked the economy. And that it's $800,000 to buy a house in Kitchener now.
Oh my God.
Right. I mean, this is the purpose of this. The purpose, they don't give a shit that it's not going to make any difference. They absolutely don't care that they're taking guns, they're taking asset value from you, me, and Chris here. That
from people who weren't voting for them in the first place.
Right.
And again, and yes, it's the perfect target market, because for all intents and purposes, nobody that owns a firearm votes liberal. And that's kind of it. And if you did ever look at the liberal or the gun owners that vote liberal, you'll probably find a whole lot of them own an over and under shotgun and nothing else. I mean, it just happens to be, and I've been doing a little study on this.
Either that or they used to vote Liberal.
Well, there's still some that are pretty freaking thick in the head, but that's another.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm saying, and Oscar's exactly right. This is clickbait to change the channel from their screw ups on other things, and to do something that hurts people they don't care about.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's a very conservative thing to try and be a big tent and to try and actually consider other people. Liberals don't give a crap about anybody.
They don't. What amazes me is they haven't for at least the past 7 years, and people don't pick up on that. Like their supporters don't pick up on that. They think you're fucking stupid and pieces of shit. They don't give a fuck about you. Yeah, but okay, well, I'll vote for him anyway.
The second stupidest argument you can get into, which segues oftentimes with the same crowd, is voter turnout.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about voter turnout. In fact, I don't want you to vote if you're not an intelligent individual who's taken the time to learn the issues. I don't want you voting.
I'd rather you stay home.
If three people made the vote for every riding, but they actually knew something about economics and consequential actions, unintended consequences. I'd be way happier than that than having 97% turnout. Because it makes no sense. The Australian model is idiocy, and you see what they've got into down there.
Oh my God!
It absolutely makes no sense to push voter turnout. I've had this discussion right up to national council levels in a couple of parties, and it's just, you people are idiots, because the more you push low information voters into a polling booth, the worse anybody who actually knows what they're talking about does, because you actually have to think to listen,
real shock
to figure this out. They want to know, oh, I'm going to get free money from the government,
right?
I mean, what government ever gave you $1 that didn't steal one from you and one from you before in order to pay Bloggins $1? Yeah. I mean, it really is crazy. And anyway,
going back
we're on a gun podcast, and you happen to have hit one of my favorite other topics.
Well, hey, it's all related, man.
Well, unfortunately, in this case, Kurt, you're 100% right. It is related. And as Oscar said, this is clickbait to change the channel, so that they sate some of the screams out of Montreal, and their only goal at this point is to try and suck voters from the NDP.
Yes,
right. I mean, and Jagmeet was dumber than dog shit to sign that thing, because he's now gifted.
He's almost assured that his voters will go to the Liberals.
Well, his voters are going to go away from him.
Yes.
There's a lot of NDP voters who will actually go PC.
Yeah.
You saw that in Ontario's election. But they will go conservative before they'll go Liberal.
Going back to your point about intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, I live in an area where the only way the Liberals got in was, for years, the vote split between the right wing parties, because they would go NDP or they would go conservative, and the Liberal was nothing for years.
Right.
It's only been the last 15 or 20 years that they set it up. Yeah. Yeah, Rob. The thing is, you should separate the country right about Highway 25 in Ontario, because we're as
like this.
I mean, we're as redneck as, in many ways, more redneck in this end of Ontario than the West.
Oh, let's not get crazy, Phil.
Dude, we've had to deal with Toronto and Ottawa. So,
okay.
I mean, having that in the same province does tend to push you a little bit to one side.
Point, Phil. Yeah.
I mean, people think they hate Ontario. People don't hate Ontario.
No.
People hate Toronto and Ottawa because they drive the country. And that's a wonderful thing about our political distribution and the concentration of population. It just is the way it falls out. You think you hate Toronto and Ottawa? Come to Ontario. We'll teach you about hating Toronto and Ottawa.
seething.
Yeah.
Seething.
And I mean, yeah, granted, there's nice people up there, but unfortunately, because of the way the political structure is and the way the population is, you know, it's 23 dead ridings in downtown Toronto, as far as I'm concerned, because they all end up Liberal.
Yeah.
And a lot of the good people who work in Toronto don't actually live there. Bunch do, but many don't. They
Well,
go in
let's
and out.
talk
They're
about that
actually in the
since we're
burbs.
talking about it. Let's talk about this since we're talking about it pretty much anyways. What do you think with the momentum that Poilievre seems to be building up, and if he does become leader of the Conservatives, what do you think about an election with him in it versus Trudeau?
He's my guy. I wanted him last time. Yeah. I mean, he's the guy who can take Trudeau on and stand toe to toe and
I think he's
fight
the
it
only
out.
one. Yeah.
He's the only one that's got, I think, has a broad enough appeal and a bright enough intellect to pull it off. And there are people who have the bright enough intellect, but I don't think they have a broad enough appeal.
Well, I don't even think it's just
Leslyn
his
Lewis,
intellect;
perfect
it's his
example.
wit. It's his wit.
Well, that's part of the package, you know, going toe to toe. And like Dr. Lewis is a lovely lady, but
she's not aggressive at all. She cannot.
Well, she's new
stand
to
toe to toe.
Like she's literally just got elected, and you know, to take somebody in there. I mean, we did it with Mulroney, who was a bit of a crook, but the thing is, he was a labor lawyer out of Montreal, so he was used to fighting things out in trials, in meetings, in court.
Sure.
So he was fast on his feet. And Dr. Lewis is a lovely lady, and she's very very nice to talk to, but in a political dogfight like that, and you're going to have to go into Quebec and do it.
She's too meek.
Not even that. She's very deliberate.
She can't even,
which is very much a case that she's an academic.
I was just going to say she's an academic. She's a lawyer. She's not a politician, and not that an academic or a lawyer can't be, but she's not. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
she doesn't have. Lady. She doesn't have the quick-wittedness to be able to be a politician on this scale. As an MP, I'm sure she's just fine.
Oh, she's fantastic.
But she'll never. I don't think she'll ever lead the Conservatives, let alone lead them to a government.
No.
Yeah, certainly not now. I mean, you know, it would maybe next time, depending on how she does in a cabinet position. You know, assuming we can get Pierre elected. And we can get them elected as a party. Then you go. I mean, the guy I like is the guy out of Huntsville, Scott Aitchison. I mean, I like Pierre. Pierre is my number one guy. Make no mistake about it. I love Pierre, but I'll tell you, having met Scott Aitchison, great policy guy, good solid ideas. He
seems like the reasonable kind of down to earth farm kid.
You guys remember Eric
matter
Nielsen?
Of fact. Yeah.
He was the MP from the Yukon, was deputy PM.
Right.
Cut from the same cloth.
Yeah.
Really, really solid guy. Yeah. And the other one that's absolutely aces is Roman Baber. You sit down and you actually talk to that guy. Now, I mean, he's still learning English. But he does well in English. He does well in French. And he's a scrapper. I mean, he's 5'2", a scrap. You know, you might lose, but you're going to know you're in a fight with him. And I really like him. He's another policy guy. And I hope he sticks in because I think he would be a phenomenal cabinet minister. He's Russian. He was born in Russia, right? He knows that system. He watched the wall come down. So he knows the downside of socialism from a very personal perspective. And he's another guy that should be there and should be in cabinet. And I hope he sticks in and runs and gets elected. But Pierre's the guy. And I think Pierre's the guy who can cut Justin off, not just at the knees, but hopefully cut him off about the Adam's apple and get us back to a sane government.
It is going to take some time, though, to wean Canadians off the fucking tit, though.
I think it'll take less time than you think.
Yeah, I think the economic crisis. I
agree. I agree. And the thing is, it's you know, it's going to be a dose of bad medicine. And, you know,
there's a
if you're
shit
going to take your,
sandwich
if you're going to
coming and
take your
everybody's gonna
Buckleys,
take a
shut the
bite
hell
of
up and take it.
Yep.
You know, so as soon as you get in,
right.
cut. I mean, I would be pink slipping people left, right, and center, because
Fucking
you know,
A, Bubba.
just cut her to the bone and cut through the bone to the marrow in the first 2 years, and then, you know, then you've got some room to sail in the next 2 years and not be quite as savage and see what you can do, because I think the economy will come back. I mean, if you just get off the
eventually. It's all
It will
cycle.
I
come
think
back
the
fast,
majority
right?
of it is manufactured to begin with, so of course it'll come back. I mean, it's,
Oh yeah. I mean, you look at how fast, you know, you had Obama in the States. How fast did Trump turn the States around? And that's 20 times the economy of us.
Yeah.
And then look at again how fast Biden fucked it up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's amazing to me how big a ship you can actually almost turn on a dime.
Yeah.
So I think you get the right guy in there, and I think Pierre is the right guy.
He
hell,
is
everybody
right
was
now,
bitching
at
about
least.
the Bank of Canada and him going after the president of the Bank of Canada.
Right.
And they quietly came out the other day, one of their flunkies that's in the bank, and said, yeah, he's actually right.
Yep. Yeah.
That wasn't a
how much
flunky. That
press
was
did
the
that get?
CEO.
None.
That was the CEO of the Bank of Canada.
Yeah. It was one of the other top guys, but it you know, it wasn't the president. It wasn't Milan or whatever the frick his name is. Anyway, but yeah, 100%. He's you know, I think Pierre could do a great job.
Yep.
Great comment.
Charade. Like, how is that son of a bitch not chased out of town with pitchforks and torches?
I think he will
and on the other Tyne should be Brown, but that's my personal.
Let's be honest, guys. I mean, at the beginning of this thing, I mean, Pierre was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be your next president," and then it was crickets for weeks.
Yeah.
Nobody else wanted to announce that they were running. I know that there was some conversation somewhere, and they were just like, hey, can we just get somebody to like be the anti-Pierre for a little while? Just to try and get some interest in this race.
I'm still convinced.
I guarantee you that's what he's for.
I'm still convinced that Charest was dragged into it by National Council, because there's a bunch of people on there that should be run out of town on a rail.
We need a goddamn.
Well, we need
a flood.
Let's start with a Pierre, because we can, as all members of the party, we can influence his election, and that's our job right now, is to get out there and do everything we can and influence him getting elected. And I mean, first ballot elected. And I hope that's it. Boom, done.
Yeah.
Okay. Enough of this bullshit. Let's get on with the real job.
Well, because frankly, once he becomes leader of the party, he's going to need a little bit of time to convince everybody that he's not the white devil that they're already painting him to be. I mean, it's good. He's going to need a little bit of time, a couple months.
Hey guys, I won, and that's it.
Well, sure, because for conservative voters.
Well, I don't care about Ottawa, right? I don't care about National Council. I don't care about those clowns. But what I care about is the people who are actually going to vote, and the people that are in the trenches in the EDAs.
I agree.
When he gets elected, everybody there is going to go, yeah.
And
not a navigator.
I firmly believe, Phil, that for the last several elections, there is at least a segment of the population that is not necessarily liberal, but is a little bit more centrist, and have just been going left to Trudeau rather than going right because of what everybody's been saying about the
because of the herd. Yep.
Well, I'd agree, except for the last two elections when the popular vote went to us.
I think more people in each election are starting to go right, but I think Pierre still needs the right people in the right ridings to vote conservative.
Yeah, and Pierre on a lot of those issues, and I mean, hey, abortion is a huge issue, and you know, Pierre's like, our policy is we're not going to introduce any legislation on abortion.
Yeah,
that's it. We're done. Get onto an issue that actually matters.
Yeah.
Right. That's handled by the Canadian Medical Association, and they do a very good job of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
End of story. Like that's your whole abortion discussion. And I mean, they're going to try and drag it out. And he needs to do it better than O'Toole did. It is a discussion. O'Toole was terrible on that.
Yeah.
And
I don't think Pierre would do that. I think that's the biggest difference between O'Toole and Pierre is that Pierre has absolutely no problem sticking to his guns when he makes a statement.
And I think he's been pretty solid in that respect, and
absolutely
consistent, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So far, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, should we talk about guns?
It's always the misquotes, right? And the twisted quotes that you get in various aspects of the media. Which
Pierre is pretty good at wording his responses that they're difficult to take out of context.
Not for our media. They'll just change it.
They'll still, unless they just outright change it, sure. But
yeah, and they will. I mean, I've been misquoted by every network in Canada. Yeah. Right. Own a gun company, be a guy who is a military sales rep for a firearms company. Yeah. You get crucified by the media. They'll do anything they can to get you. And they have a vested interest. You want to talk about weaned off the tit? That's an industry that needs to be weaned off the tit.
Phil, that is
huge.
But that's exactly why they have a vested interest in not letting Pierre become the prime minister, because of all the prime ministers that have, of all the prime minister hopefuls that have threatened to defund the CBC, I think he's the guy who might actually do it.
Yeah, and I sure as hell hope he does. Yeah, because I'll be one of the most disappointed people if he doesn't. I mean, just get rid of it. And I mean, at one point they actually served a purpose. I mean, the Northern Service to provide communications and news to the entire country. And I mean, we were huge, but and internationally they provided a service. But with the internet, that's gone now. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Satellite.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Remind me why Wade is
giving us Northern Service for free, right? He just
exactly.
All the satellites up there.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
remind me why Wade is giving me shit about the Flames.
No, because you're trying to change the subject. He was trying to help you.
Oh, okay.
How about them Flames?
No, I'm happy talking about this subject.
Well, I mean, the sad part is it has become something that is unfortunately part and parcel of being a firearms owner in the 2000s in Canada. It sucks.
If you're not politically involved and you are a gun owner, you're just doing your best impression of an ostrich.
Well, and you're just going to give away you're giving away your property.
Yeah, it's not going to change anything. You're just not paying attention.
Yeah, and it's not a zero-sum game. You're going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Should we go segue back to guns?
Well, there's been some interesting comments in the chat here.
Okay, let's hit them up.
Well, I'll just go through a few here first. There's been a string of them. Oscar says, Luke, I can't understand why the Maritimes vote red. They get shit on by the libs almost as bad as the West. And that is so true.
Yeah. I'll give you one word, Pogie.
Yeah, man. Yes. You know what? It's created a culture, hasn't it?
Yeah. We had a division that lived in Dartmouth, and they built Sauna Boys. And this was in the last company before I started my own. And it took 14 years to get a steady workforce of 90 people.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm wondering.
They were on the cyclic thing. They'd work, then they'd go on the boats.
Yep.
And then they went 6 months off.
And
then they come back looking for their weeks.
Sure.
And it's like, sorry, no, it doesn't work that way. And it's horribly unfortunate because they're great people down there.
Oh my God!
But there is enough of a portion of a culture, and it does swing the vote.
Yeah. I've often wondered about this lately in the last couple of years that what this COVID and the CERB has done, and I think we've just created a bunch of tit suckers, honestly. Well, how else do you explain it?
No, it's a great way to describe it.
It's
descriptive.
My good friend of mine runs a restaurant in Toronto. He can't get servers.
Yes.
Because
No.
a server typically makes slightly less than minimum wage because they do well on tips, and he knows a good server.
Yeah.
They're going to pull in 30 to 50,000 a year if they work
Sure
a full
shit.
year in tips.
Yeah.
Sure as shit.
Yeah.
For a job that requires the ability to go, here's a menu.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, a good server does a lot more than that, but there's not a high threshold to get the job. You just got to be neat and clean and polite, and
That's
away you
right.
go, and you can do well out of it.
Yeah.
He's being held up. People won't come in less than $18-19 an hour.
Yeah.
As
That's
a
right.
server base. They don't even. Nope, not even interested.
Yeah.
I got like teenagers and like some under the age of 18, some over the age of 18, but like teenagers are applying for my camp counselor positions for my summer camps. And we're getting an idea of what kind of a wage they're expecting. And these kids are expecting to do camp counselor work for no less than $18 an hour.
Yeah.
Friggin' camp counselor.
Yeah. With no prior experience, probably.
As a summer student, it's a summer student job.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing.
Every other small business owner I know in Saskatoon, multiple business owners, they're all having trouble finding employees. I'm having trouble finding front desk staff, just get people to apply for the position. Our premier says, Saskatchewan is growing back so strong and our economy is doing so good. I call bullshit. If we were doing so good, then we wouldn't have so much difficulty finding entry-level jobs.
You know what they base that on?
Well, you're not finding it. There's lots of entry-level jobs. What your problem is finding people to fill them.
People to fill them. Yeah, that's what I meant.
And I mean, if people are moving up the food chain, okay, the economy maybe is doing a little bit better, but unfortunately, we need people to do entry-level jobs.
That's
It doesn't change the fact that you still need them. And
right. You can't just forget they exist.
Yes.
Unless people are, is somebody going to pay $5,000 a year to send their kid to, for a week of camp council, of camp?
Yeah.
No.
Everybody wants to work on the
less.
Everybody wants to work on the 5th floor, but nobody wants to clean the 5th floor.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That is so fucking right, man. Like I worry that we're in that cycle again, like what you were talking about earlier, Phil, with the folks on the East Coast that we've been through this CERB thing, and okay, this is great. I'm gonna sit at home and rot on my ass and get fat, and having to do nothing, and life is good. This is what I want out of life. It's easy to all this bullshit, and at some point they're gonna have to go back to work. But right now, I think it's like, well, we really don't have to.
No, they don't.
It's great.
Yeah.
But it is going to land, and at some point,
it is going
to come in. I mean, this is
fucking right.
Trudeau's been printing money, and he dodged inflation to the point that now they can't avoid dodging inflation. So things are starting to escalate, and you just can't print your way out of this, because at some point you have to pay the piper, and that payment is. It comes in the form of inflation, and it degrades the value of your money. It degrades the value of everything.
And that means we're the ones who are going to be paying the piper. But let's use this as our segue here. How's the Phil Odell range day shaping up? Will any of this political shit cause you grief?
Always, but we'll check fire and adjust.
Yes.
That's what we do. That's what we always have to. I mean, as an importer, we're stuck. We don't have a choice. We have to deal with CBSA. We have to deal with the RCMP in terms of getting our imported firearms classified in a way that we can sell them, either as restricted or non-restricted. If handguns go away, then we won't have handguns until we can get Mr. Polivo in there and sort that shit out.
Yeah.
But for right now, we'll have slightly less short guns on the range, but with things like the TM22, the BMR, the BXR, we've now got a plethora of 22 fun rifles. So where there used to be a handgun section, there probably will be an entire section of 22 rifles, and then the hunting rifles will still be there. And I speak as though everybody on the podcast actually knows what I'm talking about. We do a range day for our dealers. It's a dealer education day. We do that every year. We do it at Galt Sportsman's. We run the trap section. So we have the dealers spend half a day learning our shotguns on the trap section, and we also run the outdoor 200-yard restricted range. But we run rifle, and we used to run handgun. We used to run ARs on there, and when the ARs went away, the rifles got a little bit bigger. And if the handguns go away, then the rifles will just get bigger again.
That's right.
So it will continue to go on. We'll continue to educate our dealers so that when you go into your store, and you're looking for a plinker because your son and your daughter are getting a little bit bigger, and they can hopefully put you into a Canuck or an Odell firearm that is going to happily meet your requirements, or there's lots of quality firearms out there, and other people build good guns too. So whatever it is, I hope you get a good gun. I hope you have a lot of fun with it, and you get to teach your kids to be safe and enjoy our sport. That's the number one thing. If I don't sell you the gun, I'm not that concerned, as long as you're teaching your kids and you're bringing up good citizens.
Yeah.
But we will continue to have our range day. It will evolve, and we'll present all the guns we have. I am hoping we're going to have a couple of really cool new guns. 29th of August, Dave, is this year's. And again, it's a dealer event. It's a dealer education event. We will, however, be at the Ducks Unlimited outdoor day in Grimsby at the west. I forget. It's the Agricultural Center in Grimsby, and the DU is putting this on. Dog trials, the Canadian Calling Championships. Duck and Goose Calling Championships are going to be there. That's the 20th of August in Ontario. And then TACOM. What is that? 9, 10, 11, I think it is, of September. So we're going to be at TACOM. And those are both public events. So come on out, see us. We'll be there. We'll have the full range of guns there. So come and see what we've got. Excuse me, not a range, so they're not able to be shot. National Range Day, which was awesome in Ontario. We supported 3 or 4 different range days across the area. Those are fantastic things to get out and try something, and we'll do what we can do, and we're just going to get out there and have a bunch of fun. And I really don't give a shit what Justin does. I enjoy my sport, and I'm going to have fun at it. And I'm going to bring my family out. My daughter loves it.
Yes.
And we're going to get out there.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that the lefties hate is the fact that we are safe. They can't argue about that.
Yes.
And that people love doing what we do. They get out there, and if we can get somebody onto a range, onto a line in one of our events, whether they decide to become a shooter or not, they go away going, that was fun.
Yeah.
And that was safe. and those are really nice people.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's the win. Like that's the big win. And like I said, I don't care if you got a Browning, you got a Remington, you got a Winchester in your hands, or you got a Canuck. And I sincerely hope you consider a Canuck. But get out there and have some fun and get
have
your kids
a gun
out there.
in your hands nonetheless.
Yeah.
Whatever
absolutely.
it is. Yep, for sure.
So speaking of National Range Day, you had a big one. Tell us about your National Range Day. What you did for National Range Day.
Well, we did a couple of things. We were with the Coat of Arms guys at and NAS, one of our dealers, and they were right beside Silverdale down in Niagara. So the NFA guys were there, and so we had a ton of people at our range with NAS, and then they had a ton of people at Silverdale, and they were close enough. It was really cool. People could go from one to the other. And so we had our sales guy Ian was down there, and one of our Canuck Angels, Barb Bose was down with him, and she's just an awesome person. Barbie's a CCFR field officer as well, hell of an archer. She's just loves to hunt. Great kid. So she was out talking and teaching people showing them all of our line. And Ian, of course, was doing the Ian thing because he's our sales guy. So he's a character.
Sure.
His wife, Nicole, was down there and his two boys. So it was a great range day they had down there. Two of our other girls, Anna McIntosh and Lynn Belanger, were at the Barrie Gun Club. We'd actually been asked a year ago by Barrie to do a ladies' day. So this was a big ladies' day event had been planned at Barrie, and it turned into a national range day event. So they just kind of opened it up a little wider. Again, we had our trap guns down there. They were hammering away on the trap range. The girls were having a bunch of fun. I mean, there's, it's one of those things. There's nothing like a Canuck crossbow. Yeah.
Powered by a 12 gauge shot shell.
We'll find a way to make it happen. But it's great with people, and it's why I love stub ends of 2x4s for 22s with kids, and trap clays with a lot of people, and especially women. They love, or if you've got a plate rack on your handgun range, a reactive target where they can see, they get instant feedback. I mean, now you've got them hooked. I mean, they may turn into group shooters, and by God, go ahead, turn your girl into a group shooter, and she will hand you your ass when it comes to shooting, because they are awesome shooters.
Yeah.
And I have coached dozens, probably hundreds, and boy, they can shoot. But initially, feedback. If you're taking somebody to a range, go watch a bench rest competition. Really, really cool. Oh no, it's not. It's like watching a paint dry.
It's like
if
golf,
you're into it,
really.
If you're golf at least moves. You can watch the ball go, and you can watch the ball land on the green.
I'd rather watch bench rest, honestly.
So would I. But we're shooters, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'd rather watch jiu-jitsu competitions too, but I can't say that it's more exciting than to watch them boxing is.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. They're not that different. I enjoy jiu-jitsu, but I also like wrestling. But I like the technical aspect of wrestling, and I see that in
Sure. Just like he likes bench rest shooting.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. No, I mean, you see, even the little guys in jiu-jitsu, it's usually a good entertaining go round.
Well, the little guys are usually
bench rest is particularly dry.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
I mean,
but there's always going to be those sports
to see what the guy's doing on the bench to figure things out.
Yeah, but there is always going to be those sports that you have to have more of an understanding when you're watching it to really appreciate what you're watching. And I think what you're saying is bench rest is like
and once
that.
you know what you're doing, and you've got enough to actually shoot with a reasonable degree of accuracy, all of a sudden shooting small groups becomes a lot more fun.
Yeah,
because you actually kind of know things are happening, and you can see groups forming up through your scope or through your spotter, and that becomes its own kind of interesting fun. But when somebody's coming out to start with, get something reactive. Let's get some direct feedback and have some fun with it.
Well, how many people I've taken out to the range, especially new shooters for one, but hunters seem to really stick in my mind, where they've shot out to 200 yards before or something like that, and I get them out on a man-size IPSC at 800, and they go, that's pretty fucking cool. Like, and that steel, that immediate report back.
And when you get them trained to the point that they can sit behind somebody and watch the rounds going through, parting the mirage, and you can see it going into the target, or where you missed at that kind of range. Yeah, the kata of marksmanship. That's actually pretty accurate, really.
Obviously, Rob Longridge is the karateka watching the show tonight, right?
Yeah,
it's funny. All three of us understood actually what that meant.
Yeah, exactly. He's not wrong though. He's really not.
No, he's actually extremely accurate.
He's the traditional kata,
which is appropriate being bench rest.
Yeah, your more modern musical kata is a little bit different, but yeah, traditional kata for sure, especially if you came from a taekwondo style. Anyway, Anywho, hey, we for National Range Day, we went and shot the Saprel Cactus Cup. And if I do say so myself, I was there.
Good man.
You were indeed. That's about all you can say for yourself.
That's about all I can say. I did better than 9 other people.
Right.
out of 81.
That's okay.
Hey, at least you didn't end up in the bottom.
Yeah, I didn't end up on the bottom, so I'm good to go. Yeah.
Let's see. You could say, I was a 4th line player in the NHL. That still makes you better than 99.9% of everybody who's strapped on a pair of skates.
That's right.
Exactly.
Exactly. I mean, you got there and you participated and you had fun. So good for
the
you.
Saprel Cactus Cup, 81 shooters that day. Chris ended up 72nd. You know what? Honestly, Chris,
you can tell them where you placed. It's okay. You can tell them where you went.
I don't give a fuck where I placed. But the thing is, for a guy like you.
So how badly did he spank everybody?
No,
No, I didn't. I did
Kurt
not.
was pretty good. Pretty good middle of the pack.
Exactly middle of the pack. But the thing is, I was using a rifle and a cartridge that is really not suited well for that game. But it was like the 6.5 Rooster is, that cartridge that I developed personally quite some time ago. But I can only fit 8 or 9 rounds into a magazine, depending on the magazine that I had. So I had to mag change every single stage, which is a huge
Mr. Trudeau is going to help you with that.
I know. Then I can run my 6.5 Rooster again.
So everybody in the comments really wants to know what you placed, Kurt.
I placed 44 out of 81.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, good man. Well done.
Now listen, that's the first formal PRS shoot I've ever been to. And I mean, I've got a book of 100 excuses, and that's one of them, is that I've never been to a formal match before. But I want to concentrate on Chris, because he's never done this type of shooting before at all.
I never have. But let's also not forget that the sun was in our eyes the whole time.
Right. The wind was always switching.
We had
I have a mug with a list of this stuff on it for
you. Yeah. Well, and Oscar, actually, from Ribstone Gunsmithing, was with us, and he blew up his gun on like the 3rd stage.
He did.
That's my kind of guy. Stuff that son of a bitch full of powder and let her
ragged edge.
Never mind that, Phil. He blows up his gun on like the 3rd stage. He borrows an EM rifle for the rest of the day and takes 40th place.
Nicely done. Oh shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
If Oscar didn't build guns, I'd say I got to send him a Bergera, but he just wouldn't take that well.
Yeah,
we were the comments. I think Oscar's got to be one hell of a guy.
Oh no, Oscar's great. Yeah, Oscar's a lot of fun. We actually went to.
Is he a Saskatchewan?
No, he's Albertan. He's Albertan.
Alberta.
He oversees the gun range that we were at near Consort after the Saprel Cactus Cup. We were supposed to be there for a couple of days after, and as it turned out, Jens had to be back in town because he ended up having to work on Monday. Kurt had to be back in town because he had something else that popped up. I stayed the next afternoon. I was an idiot and I checked my email, had something going on with my landlord at my gym, so I had to go back early. We ended up leaving John there all by himself with Oscar till the next day, but it was quite a trip. I broke 3 guns at Nose Hills the next day.
Fuck, yeah. You are exceptionally good at that.
What do you mean? This is the first guns I've ever broken. I think.
I'm getting more and more impressed that my Engage survived you.
No, dude, the Engage is a solid gun.
Phil. Yes.
The Engage is a solid gun. There's no question about this.
It is a solid gun. It's my favorite gun of all of our semi shotguns. I love that son of a bitch.
And you know what? Of the 4 guns that I ended up using while I was there, the Canuck operator was the only one I didn't break. I broke the other 3. So yeah, I ended up putting an overpressured round in my SIG Cross. And let's not talk about why I put an overpressured round in my SIG, but I did. Thankfully, those things are designed to handle, higher pressures because they were made for those hybrid cases. So no issues there, but I did get a case head separation, and we had a little bit of fun using a 30-06 stuck case remover to get a 308 case out of my chamber. So
that should work.
Yeah, it worked. It took a little while. And I say I broke 3 guns, but I mean, it was temporary. I mean, we got it fixed and I was able to continue using it. Yep. I fell off of, what is that? Like a 3.5 foot, 4 foot raised platform?
Oh, at least that. Yep.
Oh yeah. They have a habit of making some rather punitive positional devices.
Well, and this was at the range the next day. This wasn't even at the competition.
Oh, you were falling off shit on your own time.
No, I was just practicing some PRS shooting with the EM rifle that we have with Kenny.
Right at the top of the screen there. It's hard to
hard to
say.
Here, let me maximize you here. Where do we go? Solo. There we go. Yeah, so those 2x12s there, that's the platform. Yeah. And then what you're seeing with the rifles are on, that's not the ground. Those are like benches.
Those are benches. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's that contraption at the far end.
Yeah. So I fell off of that, scraped the shit out of my shin.
I can't believe that. Yeah.
And, the rifle went down twice, once off the barricade that it was resting on when I fell, and then once off of the barricade, off of the platform. And so I say that I broke that, but I mean, it got a little bit dirty and we had to re-zero it. So again, I say I broke it, but it was an easy fix. And then I was blasting caps off with my Gen 2 WK 180C, and I broke the op rod.
Right.
And that one was permanently broken. Who's that doing that?
That's our Snuffleupagus, Jens.
Oh, is that Jens?
Yeah.
Look at there's proof that Jens can shoot something other than a PRS rifle or an ELR rifle. Your screen cut out. Yeah.
Sorry.
You should have just uploaded those.
Very cool.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a hell of a weekend. Honest to God. And I mean, lots of travel, but lots of great shooting. That Consort Nose Hill Gun Range or Nose Hill Gun Club has an amazing range out there.
Apparently I'm an ogre.
Yes, I would agree.
So for our audio listeners, Rob is giving me shit like everyone does. He's saying most firearms are not meant to be used by ogres.
Well, and then there's this one from Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was sad. I thought that was funny. Yeah.
The 4 foot
platform. He didn't scrape his shin. He just tripped into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't really falling off.
Yeah. If only these things were true, guys, I would have a lot more head bruises and a lot less shin bruises.
Well, you have worn the covering off the top there.
Yes, true. I did.
Yes.
I have. I can't deny that I've smacked my head on a few low doorways in my life. Well, and Oscar's also right. The funny part is the reason that I fell off the platform is because I am an ogre. The platform isn't what would you say?
It's not ogre enough? Friendly.
Yeah, it's not ogre friendly. It's not deep enough. So I was practicing a barricade position where I was standing, but it was like a little bit more than waist height. So I had to bend down to it. Well, I put my foot backward because, what am I going to do? A full friggin' squat? Like that's not a very stable position.
Yes.
And when I put my foot backward, it went off the back of the fucking barricade. Or I keep saying barricade, the platform.
Oh, that's funny, Chris. Like you are, you're more of a freak than you realize. I just
thanks. I appreciate that.
And you know what? It's good to embrace that.
Kurt, he's our freak.
He is.
Right.
He's God damn it, we love him.
I don't even think I've even said on the air yet. I'm more of a freak than you guys know because I have 6 lumbar vertebrae and most humans only have 5.
Right.
Well, you're not going to be that tall if you had 4.
That's right. Well, that's why I have the arm span of somebody who's only 6'3", but I'm 6'7". It's because of the extra lumbar vertebra.
He's a
My
T-Rex.
daughter has the arm span of a 6'3" person, and she's only 6'1".
Exactly. See, that's the way most of the time. That's the way it goes.
Chris is
Either
a
that,
T-Rex.
either that, or she's not done growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's the small arms group?
Yeah. Anyway, let's get off of me. Hey, Phil, you brought some more. You brought some more.
Yeah,
show
you've
and
got some other stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We had a. Which one do you want to do first? We can.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure what all we got. Let you decide.
Okay. Before we haul all the junk out, this one's kind of cool, and it's more of a story, but it is, in my view, it is the coolest gun I own in my collection. It is by far the most sentimental and most inspirational firearm that I own, and it's not a particularly unusual gun. And I'm just gonna bring it in front of the screen here, and pretty much everybody will recognize what it is, and it's your nice
Webley?
Standard. Yep, Webley.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Opens up.
That looks clean too, hey?
It is, and this is a World War II vintage Webley.
That is an amazing machine.
It is, and if you notice, it has a blue lanyard, and this was the original lanyard that was on the firearm when it was in service. And what is epically cool about this, and everybody should remember what Monday was this week. It was D-Day, and D-Day anniversary. This particular firearm flew over Juno Beach on D-Day.
Oh
wow!
With a Hurricane driver who was a Canadian fella who had gone over, joined the RAF, and he actually was then repatriated back to the was Canadian Air Force. They weren't royalized just yet.
Yeah.
But this particular gun flew with him over D-Day, and the reason why it is in such brilliantly perfect and pristine condition,
and it is
because when they flew deep escort into Germany.
Yeah,
they were told if they bailed out and landed and surrendered, they would go to prisoner of war camp, and they could then try and escape, which they did with quite a great degree of regularity. But if they had a gun, they'd be pitchforked to death by the local population.
Yeah,
and so they never carried their guns when they were flying deep into Europe.
Bad intel.
Well, this was what they did, and I have this guy. I have the letter from the fellow because I met him in Ottawa. And he was a Hurricane driver, and they figured that because they were only flying close air support on D-Day, that if they bailed out, they got shot down, they could reasonably fight their way back to the beach.
Right.
So they actually carried their guns on D-Day and the days just after D-Day. So this gun, and he was actually flying close air support for Canadians on Juno Beach. So this particular gun actually flew over the greatest generation on the beach on D-Day. And
that's incredible.
When I picked this thing up, and the Juno Beach Center is desperately trying to get this thing, but they're going to weld it up, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's fantastic, and I do have the provenance on it, and
So is that a
D-Day week? This is
blows my mind. Yeah.
Is that all original condition, or has it been refinished?
It is. No, it's original condition. As he said, it in the entire war, it actually flew like a week, which was the week right after, because then shortly they went back to bomber escort, and it went back and it stayed in the barracks. This baby, this baby was there, and it got. It was there. And so that fellow was in Ottawa, and he was getting a little older. And I actually got his father's handgun from the First War with the story on it as well. And maybe another time we can get that one out. But,
can you imagine, like, if these new handgun laws pass,
They
All
would.
these-
Well, I
all
mean,
these
if it's
are
a May
set to be
30th and it was
destroyed.
the taxpayer funded theft of your firearms,
Yep.
it would
Yeah.
go. I mean, the proposal for the handgun one, because they don't want to give money to us conservatives, is that we'll just let you keep them. And yes, can you imagine the amount of history that's being lost and destroyed?
Well, fuck
I mean,
history. We don't need it anyway because
well,
we're
they don't want history
rewriting it.
because
Right.
history is people standing up for their rights,
That's
standing
right.
up for other people,
That's right.
acting in a collective way. Awesome, Shane. Yes, wow.
Awesome.
I hope
That's
all
incredible.
I can say is I hope they came home, man.
Yep.
For our audio
And I hope
listeners,
they're able
Shane
to
is
get the story.
saying, two of my great uncles stormed Juneau with the Regina rifles, says Shane. That's very cool,
So yeah,
Phil.
yeah.
I can't
That's
believe the
an
shape that
inspirational
thing's
thing.
in. I just can't.
And you know, when you talk to the guy, and I met him twice, because once when we originally started, and then second time when I went to go and pick everything up. And yeah, he still had his flight logs.
Wow.
You know, which he wanted to keep, which makes
Yeah,
sense.
I would too.
Being an airplane driver.
Yep.
But yeah, he was a hurricane pilot, and he was there, and yeah, he said this is the only time it ever actually flew with me in the war, was the days right at D-Day and just after. And he said, so
Huh.
yeah, this thing went over Juno Beach, and he had it in his flight log. He'd noted it in his flight log back at the time that you know, took my handgun for the first time ever, and you know, 6 June 44.
Wow.
It was really something to see. So he gave me a letter which detailed a lot of the stuff, and I have it in the file on the gun. So yeah, that's a particularly cool one. And like I said, the ladies from the Juno Beach Center saw that one, and they were just like, "We must have that." No, you mustn't, because it needs to stay, and it needs to, and people need to see it.
Yeah.
And you know, the kids see it, and they tour over, and one of my deputy daughters, she was at Juno, and
Oh.
we went down. And when I knew she was going, we went down and said, okay, well, this was there in 1944. And she was like,
Right.
and she's a bit of a, oh, she's a great kid, but she's a bit of a smart ass. And she was totally in the moment. This was incredible to her. And she brought me back some pebbles from Dieppe and some sand from Juno.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, it was super cool.
That's what I think a lot of people are missing nowadays. Honestly, Phil, is that perspective and that realization that people before them had actually fucking fought for them.
The sacrifice. Oh yeah, and I mean they went to the cemeteries, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean the number of crosses just absolutely blew them away. And that's not easy to do to an 18-year-old teenage girl from Canada, you know. But she was just like, wow. And they stood on Dieppe, and they landed there and came up here. It's like,
right.
Yep.
Right.
Holy jeez. I mean, even them knew how serious that was. And then when they went to the D-Day beaches and were like, well, this was not as crazy as the other one.
Right.
But still, they're like, whoa. And they went down to Omaha, which was a bag drive.
Sure.
That was vertical.
Sure.
So they saw Juneau, they saw Omaha, and I think they saw one of the British beaches. I don't know whether it was Gold or Sword, but they did get to see them, and it was something else. Yeah.
Wow. Crazy.
Well, we're so protected now.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, we are lucky because of the sacrifice that they made for us.
That's right.
Yeah.
And how convenient it is to forget them. Forget that and
well, there are some politicians that are doing everything they can to try and bury that, and you know, it's on us to make sure that doesn't happen. You know, and
definitely.
I mean, you know, we're all hardworking people, and I look at the list of names on the side there. There's some really, really good people, and you know, just keep teaching your kids. You know, as long as we talk about it, it's not forgotten.
That's true.
Yeah,
absolutely true.
Yeah. So you want to do the other one too?
Yeah, let's do the other one too. Yes. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we got time.
Yeah. Well, this is people will probably kind of recognize what this is, but we did have in the last go round of Stupid a number of magazines and things which were exempted from the dumbness, and the Luger snail drum was one of these, and this is a snail drum. This is actually not for Luger, however, but it does have, you know, it does have the cover which goes on, and because this is not for a Luger, it also has a slider right there, which moves up and down, so that positions the magazine, and it winds up, right? It winds up so you can load it and put the requisite number of rounds in there, and yeah, it's a cool and very interesting piece of kit, beautifully manufactured, you know, typical German first generation subgun type of stuff.
Right.
You can see all the bits and pieces, the parts. Sorry, I'm working with a different camera to this week. You know, and you can see how this is all done. You know, it's beautifully put together. This one's not the most pristine example, but I mean, you know, when you can get one of these,
they really don't leave much to the mediocre, do they?
No, they're beautiful. I mean, their machine work is and always has been fantastic.
Make it fucking right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you can see the cover. So, you know, the cover would fit right on, and it's all set. I mean, you know, I don't know if you can see on this side, there's the rib, and then there's a little piece for the that's attached to the follower, and the cover is grooved so that it fits over it's double strut.
Make it right.
One wide groove would not be correct, right? So, you know, we will put two grooves that has the appropriate size. Yeah. And, so, you know, and that all kind of fits together. And there is a loader that goes with it, because, you know, we must have all of these bits and pieces. So yeah, there's the loading system here, which then goes on and it depresses the follower, and you can slide you can see it depress.
So it's like a quick load, like an Uplula.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, but you know, this is properly made.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
The German Uplula.
Yes, granted, you could mold it out of 3 pieces of plastic and a spring. We can machine 72 parts into this.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. However, ours is more effective.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Yeah.
And then
it was made in the Ruhr Valley.
Probably.
Yes.
And then we actually have the MP18 Bergman, which is can I get that whole thing on there?
Yeah, you got it there.
So there it is. That's the it's a open bolt, Vance primary ignition, blowback gun. It is a rocking, I don't know, 11 pounds or so. So, you know, very steady when you're firing it. And there's the side where the snail drum would mount in. Very typical of, you can see the plunger magazine retention, all the good stuff.
Geez, that's in good shape too, hey?
It is. It's lovely. Yeah, exactly. 80 years later, man. 104 years later for this one. So yeah,
Oscar says,
but Oscar's exactly right. Yeah. They're beautifully manufactured. And
son of a gun.
Yeah. There you go. You can even see on the side. I think you can see. Can you read it there?
What's it say?
Theodore Bergman.
Yeah.
Sul.
What's it say? Waffenschau?
Waffenfabrik, or is it Waffenfabriken? Usually gun manufacturer. Usually it's Waffenfabriken.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you, as a former machinist, that is amazing stuff.
Waffenauer. Yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
Waffenauer.
I shouldn't really, but it's serial number 130. I mean, it's an early example.
Holy crap.
Yeah, and you can see the MP18. I don't know if you can you see it? Can you read it?
Yep. Yep. Just barely.
MP18I.
Yeah,
And that's not a 1, it's actually an I. Although it's on the documentation with the government, it's a 1. But
yeah.
Is that kind of like how when my ancestors came into Canada, the name was actually KEMP, but they wrote it down KEMB anyway?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean there was a lot of that, man. And I mean, half the time the people who were writing it down weren't all that literate.
Yeah, exactly.
Happen to have a little bit more.
Yep.
So,
yeah. And it was the 11,000th thing they had written down that day.
Right.
And then you get that, and then this slips in, locks in, and you can see it's in place, and that collar fits exactly there. So when you're using it not in the handgun, but in the subgun, the collar goes on and everything fits. And what were we talking about? The perfection of the Germans.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
There was the view you never wanted to see.
Jesus Christ! No,
it looks like it looks like that's a headlamp.
Yeah, yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah. Sorry.
Welcome to Juno.
Our audio listeners are really missing out on the last 25 minutes of this podcast.
I'm really sorry.
That's okay. They can go to YouTube just like anybody else.
Well, they'll be able to see it. So anyway, that's a cool little old first gen subgun out of the collection.
Wow,
that's awesome.
And I can honestly say I have zero idea how it shoots because I've never actually fired this one. And as much of that is because I'm really be afraid to damage the drum. It is there, it is complete, it is working. If I had 2, I'd be shooting, or at least trying to.
But the reality is, it's going to be pretty damn hard to get another one.
What chamber is that?
And they come up every once in a while. But you are correct, and
that'll be 9x19. It has to.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of these were these early guns. The early German guns were 9.
That's fucking amazing.
But yeah, she's a beauty. So another reason when you guys come out here, you need to leave an extra day to come down to the come down to the warehouse.
Well, I'm thinking I might just change my plane ticket so that I make sure I stay an extra day.
Yeah, and afterwards is best if you can, because before is usually a bag drive of getting everything ready. But
exactly.
If you can, it would be awesome.
Well, and you're just gonna have to fly out from King of 2 Miles there, Kurt, and just head over there just for a day, one day.
Well, the first thing you got to do is, I mean, that, and I will. What we were talking about before, they should not schedule these things when TACOM is on. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I completely agree. Somebody should tell Rob Furlong that.
I know.
I guarantee you, like all the shit that I've been talking about Rob Furlong for the last several months, if I ever meet that man, he's probably just going to slap me in the mouth.
Well, first off, you'll need a step stool.
Yeah, he'll go get a step stool and then he'll slap me in the mouth.
I love Rob. He's a great guy.
He is a
Oscar.
Really
whenever you get
guy.
here, brother. Whenever you get here.
Yeah. You betcha.
But I sincerely hope, and I don't say this with any degree of animosity. There are some key dates that nothing should be scheduled on, and TACOM is one of them. And when we schedule National Range Day next year, for God's sake, don't 700 people set events there. Right. Let's have a National Range Day and let's make it what it is. Let's introduce new people to the sport.
Yeah.
Let's at least try and act like we're adults for a minute.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. That. Everybody wants their fucking show. That's the thing, right?
And I don't care if you have your show, but there's certain things which are above and they're bigger than us.
Yeah.
And so let's make sure those things we do, because TACOM, everybody's going to be there. You guys, as some of the better media that we have in this country, should be there, and you should be interviewing the hell out of everybody. I mean, that's why we're putting the studio on the end of our booth for you guys.
For sure, yeah.
So we want you and Dan from Caliber, and there's a couple other people who are going to be in there.
It's going to be awesome hanging on the
broadcasting
jam.
from there, like every couple hours.
Yeah.
And let's make use of it. And you guys, I mean, even if you don't always broadcast, you should get enough raw material for 3 months, 5 months worth of shows there.
Oh shit!
The
equipment.
Let's not cannibalize on one another. We don't.
Yeah, I completely agree.
We have a government for that.
That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's enough content in Canada. We can create and support each other with it for sure.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I don't consider that I have a particularly big collection compared to some people I know. So, there's other people that it's easy to introduce you to that might be interested in sharing some stories of their stuff. And these are things that you need to come around and see. And, but yeah, like I said, for God's sake, people, let's try and work as a community. And let's keep a couple of those dates so people like you guys can come here and not
100%.
get mixed up with, having to go and support people that support you.
Agreed.
Let's all try and be reasonable for a change.
Agreed.
You hear that, people? TACOM is off bounds, off limits.
No, it's not off limits. Please come and join us.
Sorry.
But
I mean, putting an
schedule
event
something
on
the same
TACOM.
weekend.
That's what I meant.
Same
what I
weekend.
meant.
Yeah.
And I hope, and I'll be talking to, and I have no idea who the hell is National Ranger Day, but I think it's probably CCFR.
Yeah. And
try and say, let's figure out what day it is, because we had the Canadian National Wildfowl Carving Championships at Rim Park in Waterloo.
Sure.
Amazing people. These guys, the talent these guys had, phenomenal. And the beautiful display. Same weekend. And we were committed 3 days there. So that was another event we did, which was kind of peripheral to shooting. But I mean, those guys are all well, they're not all, but there's a massive number of them are duck hunters, and their talent is incredible.
Of course, Jens is the dissenting voice. Just move TACOM to the winter, he says.
No, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that, and I don't care when.
I don't think he's wrong.
No, I mean, pick a time, but. The thing is, if you have TACOM in the winter, you look at January, February. First off, you've got to get people there, which is not going to be easy. And industry-wise, from Christmas to mid-March, you're screwed because all the major industry shows are going on, and you're all over Hell's Half Acre.
Right.
That's right. Yeah. Well, and frankly, from November and December would be difficult as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We actually asked.
People are spending their money on other things, right?
We were jockeying for an early April date. Before turkey season, when everything really started to get going, and post EWA. So it was actually a gap in the industry calendar. And remember, TACOM is driven by industry, because that's all the booths you see in there are industry. So you've got to pick a time when industry's available, and that actually is a good time. And the nice part is, too, you do it in April. All the new stuff that's come out from SHOT Show and and EWA and a couple of the other shows is going to be available. Boom! You can show it off at TACOM to the people who are actually going to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Great date in there, but it was not available with the event center.
I do have to tell you though that second weekend in September, when King of 2 Miles is on, for me to not be there is a severe travesty, because Jens, being my shooting partner for years now, having won third place last year, and me not showing up there would be a serious faux pas.
Serious faux pas.
Yes. Me being his spotter and then leaving him alone. I'm sorry, Jens. I'm going to be at TACOM this year.
We Germans have ways to make you show up.
They make those scope cams. So just tell them to park the scope cam beside you, and you'll spot you can spot from TACOM.
There are some things in my life that are just non-negotiable. Being Jens's spotter,
move King of 2 Miles a weekend. For this year.
You said
they haven't set the date yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
I would
clearly.
agree.
Yeah.
And if it's Rob, he owns the range.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants. Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
can do
know.
whatever he can do it. He can do it on the Thursday after the full moon if he decides.
Well,
God
he
damn it,
wants to
we
do
need to petition.
That settles it. We're going to do a session live from TACOM at the Bergera booth with Rob Furlong, who will not be running King of 2 Miles then because he will be
Deal.
at TACOM, and then we'll be at TACOM the week after that. Or, I mean, at the King of 2 Miles the week after that.
Yeah, Mike is also correct. I mean,
Rob
the number of people here who would love to meet Rob and that would fly out, that would be interested in his courses. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Rob at TACOM. I think it would be amazing. Yeah.
Amen. Yes.
I mean, he's a genuine Canadian hero. He really is for his military service, and good on him for sharing what he has learned with the rest of us.
100%.
Well, I'm thinking now that we've planned Rob Furlong's fall, let's. I think our job here is done for the night.
Yes,
I was going to say I know enough about Rob. I don't think anybody's planning his fall except Rob.
Well, Phil, thanks for coming on today. Thanks for filling everybody in on the TM22. I'm sure that thing's going to be a hit. And all the pissy bedwetters can stop complaining because there is a 25-round magazine, so that's great.
We're actually working on a couple of additional accessories for it, which I think those people in particular may find really neat.
Sweet.
So,
awesome.
You heard it here, folks.
We'll have some more stuff coming in the next 6 months or so.
Well, you'll definitely have to let us know what that is so we can get it out to the masses.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely send you some.
Fantastic. Yeah.
I'm not sure whether Jens is talking about the magazine capacity or just exactly what he's talking about, but
I think he's just talking about the bromance between you and him is what he's talking about.
The way he's laying in that photograph, I'm kind of concerned.
Well, and thanks for the stories, Phil, as usual, as always. Thanks for talking politics with us. Thanks for showing us those pieces of Canadiana. Those were pretty awesome.
Anytime, man. It's always a pleasure. Love to support you guys.
It's always awesome having you on. If anybody would like to connect with Phil or us, well, first of all, if you want to connect with Phil, go to canuckguns.ca. You can see the TM22 just by clicking on new for 2022 on their menu there. And if you click on, where is it? Dealer and customer info, dealer locator, you will find where you can get all Canuck guns in the country. And you have the dealer locator list everybody that has Bergera too, hey?
Yes. Yeah. It's our Canuck dealers. And yes, that includes Bergera and anything else new that we bring along too.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome.
And well, hopefully we got a nice announcement for TACOM. I think we're going to have something that's cool. Might interest you Western hunters.
Yes. Oh, that sounds like fun. Okay. Let's now. You know what I didn't ask you, Phil, and I know we're pretty much running out of time here, but I want to ask you with the handgun thing, if this goes like with everything being in limbo right now, what's the status on your guys' 1911?
Sold out.
It's sold out.
We actually were just in the process of getting another order of Canuck 1911s done. Okay. And when all of this poop came down, so it kind of died because
that's on hold. Yeah.
Well,
understandable.
It's on hold until there's some sort of resolution. Either C-21 fails at some point and handguns come back, or we have to wait and change governments and get it repealed.
Yeah.
So if you have a Canuck 1911, you have a bit of a collector's item.
Yeah. Shit. Well, hopefully not for good. I'll tell you what, man.
Hopefully not for good. I agree because
we'll cross our fingers and they'll get back.
They're a great gun.
We'll get it back in, and then I'll get one from you.
Yeah, and the last ones were Series 70. They didn't have the firing pin block, so people who wanted target guns was the trigger firing mechanism that people wanted, and So the IPSC and that, because it's not there, in some classes it's illegal to take these things out. You have to have all of the safety features the gun came with, and the plunger has a bunch of extra parts in it, which make tuning it a little trickier. Without that, the 70s trigger mech on the last ones, the triggers were really, really good, even out of the box. You get a qualified or a competent, person that's got a little talent like an Oscar or some of the other guys, just to smooth those things. You get some, man, they were a nice gun. And it's a crying shame that this was the last batch that came in, because they just flew. And we had commanders as well as full size.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we see those again in the not too distant future here. For the rest of you folks, if you're still watching and you haven't clicked like or love or thumbs up or whatever yet, make sure you do that before you head out. You can also check out the show on Facebook, www.facebook.com/BS podcast, and leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. If you like the content, make sure you leave a like on the page and share so that we can spread the wealth, not just with the show, but with all of our regular content. We tend to not get shared around all that much, mysteriously. The algorithm seems to just not work for our type of content. So any sharing and liking, interestingly enough, any sharing and liking that you guys can do on all of our content on social media just helps spread it around. If you do have questions for us, or if you have specific feedback for us, or if you just want to, call us a pair of idiots, we'd like to hear from you. It's info@bspodcast.ca. And yeah, you can call Phil whatever you want. We'll pass it on to him. And check out our new website, bspodcast.ca. You can get all of our episodes on there. You can find our videos on YouTube, and you can also find our written blog on there. We
reviews and on our action reports on what did you call them, Chris?
I can't remember. What did I call them? I don't
on
know
location reports.
Oh, on location reports. Yes, those. Yes,
live on location.
Live on location, or pre-recorded on location.
Yeah, there's going to be.
You were live at the time you recorded it.
Very true.
That's right. That's right.
Hopefully, I'm alive after.
So it's a build in progress.
Yes. But it's about 99% complete. We need to get our sponsors page up there, but other than that, all of the BS podcast content is on that website. We will be moving over some older content onto that website as we go along. So, check it out on a regular basis. A massive thank you to all of our sponsors. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a show in the first place. It's our sponsors and our listeners together that allow us to jaw jack with fine people such as Phil and make general asses of ourselves when we don't have a guest. And specifically, we'd like to thank Shane and Steve with EM Precision, Miles, Carey, Cappy with Call Sign, Duncan and Rob at Bolt Action, Phil Odell at Odell Engineering, Doug and Niza with March Scopes, Vanya and Carly with Apex, and of course, Oscar Long with Ribstone Gunsmithing. Thank you guys an immeasurable amount. We will see you guys all next week. I think what is next week? Yeah, we should see you guys next week. It's going to be a great episode next week.
Yes.
I think we're still finalizing what the topic will be, but you know what? It'll be a surprise.
Guns.
It will be.
It'll be about guns and probably some politics and then more guns.
That's right. That's
all right.
We've got some exciting guests coming up. We just haven't had time to solidify them yet, but they're coming.
I think a lot of what's going on, it's the COVID shuffle. Everybody's just like, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Nobody wants to commit to anything.
And the other thing is,
like you got me at 5:30 tonight. So,
that's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
The other thing is, it's shooting season right now, and everybody's busy every goddamn weekend. So, do you want to come on and show tonight? Well, Jesus, I'm shooting at fucking 0700 tomorrow morning. So no.
So quit being a wuss. Have some coffee.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Now that I've called all of our future guests a wuss and they're never going to come on ever again,
way to go,
I think we should probably sign off for the night.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us, everybody.
Done now.
And done. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Sayonara.
This right here has the ability with a 30 caliber clip to disperse with 30 bullets within half a second.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS, ballistically speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.